Hey, welcome, folks, to this week's weekly dispatch. Sam and I are sadly having to do this by ourselves. Our dear friend Ana Luisa is off on a journey,
Mm.
and but in a way that might be very appropriate for the subject we're thinking about. We were thinking about around Mother's Day. What kind of a loss is there for men, or not really even for men, just for the culture of the feminine, of the connection to the planet, of the goddess energy and senses, and we kind of hesitated because we're two guys, right?
Guy adjacent
Guy
or
adjacents,
yeah,
yeah, dudes.
yeah. Yeah,
um, but the news over the last few weeks has been pretty horrific around some of the things kind of rising to the surface, some of the horrors that women face. And what comes out of that really is it is our job as male bodies to work on this, to find ways to do this better and to think about it and to raise ourselves and open ourselves to fullness and to wholeness as human
right,
beings. So
right.
so yeah, God.
Yeah, I mean, there's that external loss of respect for the feminine, the cultural. We live in as I hopefully call it the death throes of patriarchy.
Yeah,
Um,
let's hope.
let's hope. But also losing the connection internally
Mhm.
to a balanced relationship with our masculine and feminine sides. And so, yeah, in honor of Mother's Day,
Mhm.
um, sitting here and mourning that loss and showing appreciation for those parts. Um, initially, when when we played around with this idea, the spark that came was remembering uh, one of John Trudell's really amazing lectures,
Mm.
and he talks about uh, the loss of the loss of our relationship to the earth as mother, and how that was an integral part to allowing the early forms of extractive culture
Mm.
to
Mm.
really take hold,
Yeah.
because you have to destroy people's relationship with their mother, the earth,
Yeah.
for them to be okay with you pillaging and raping that, that body that we all come from. And
Exactly.
you have to do that on a cultural level too. And so
Mhm.
that's that initial grinding away, and denigration of the feminine and the yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's really true, and when we step back, I mean, really, if we aspire, as you and I at least do, and probably many people in the audience do, to reclaim that connection, because we see what the damage it's done, and because we want to end this disharmony and the destruction, and find ways to rebuild a sustainable planet and a sustainable world. Um, the 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 lessons from the goddesses, or even all of the old myths. And we were just before we started talking about Sophie Strand's book called The Flowering Wand, Rewilding the Masculine. Highly recommended book because it really does go back through all of the mythologies, all the way back, and many of the male kind of mythologies, and redefine them in a much more wild and open and full-hearted way,
Mm,
because they've been abused, all of those myths,
right.
and especially for the Christian world that we live in, the patriarchal Christian world. The whole Bible that we use is very much um, heteronormative and patriarchal,
Right.
and
Right.
that just it's such a big loss because there's so much more going on, and when you start to find the other ways of translating things, or the other parts of the Hebrew Bible, or the other parts of even the Christian Bible, um, or other texts from other religions, there's so
Mhm.
much more connection to the planet, so much more connection to that part of who we really are. So,
Right. Right. Like you brought up this morning, when we first asked what we were going to talk about, this. this article by former guest Rabbi Rami,
Yeah.
and his take on the Eve story, and framing, her engagement with the forbidden fruit being a pursuit of wisdom,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the aesthetic, not the what was it, immortality piece, or
Yeah, well, I love it because it says she resisted twice. She resisted her
Mhm.
hunger. She said, "Well,
Oh.
I'm hungry, but I was told not to eat that, so I won't." And it's beautiful, but, I was told to leave it alone, so I will. But then but it would give me wisdom. Well, I think
Mhm.
I need that,
Mhm. Mhm.
And, and he makes the point that she made a choice because of, feminine wisdom. She made a choice to gain wisdom for the betterment of her community. Adam, on the other hand, just took it because he handed it to her. She handed it to him, you know. So I love that kind of way of thinking about it. It's just like he was compulsively taking, and she
Mhm.
was really considering thoughtfully what needed to happen.
Right.
And then, the other part I loved about that was the part where he said that she chose. He was tossed out when you read the Bible correctly, or the translation. He was tossed out of the garden. She wasn't, but she chose to go with him to try to help him with that compulsion to take things, because she had wisdom now, right? And
Right.
so, yeah, I
That
love that.
tempering influence.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, which inverts uh inverts the patriarchal narrative
absolutely.
of what masculine and feminine energies mean, or are, or qualities are. And as a queer person, uh who is like in the gender fluid realm,
Yeah.
non-binary sort of stuff, I often run into that when categorizing things as masculine and feminine, and having a background in anthropology. I'm like, it's so different. Like, what is considered a masculine and a feminine quality can vary pretty significantly depending on the culture you're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the most interesting pieces from my lineage that I've worked to integrate, or has been really impactful, and I was actually just having a conversation with my mom about it,
Hmm.
that in Lithuanian cosmology, the sun is a feminine
Mm,
archetypal force, and the moon is masculine.
mm,
And I think that inversion is really interesting, because what you're saying about, like, or what we're saying about, Eve going and being the, like, consistent wisdom grounding presence,
yeah.
and the presence of the sun as a consistent, all radiating, shines on
Mm,
everybody
mhm,
kind of thing, kind of force, that's just bright and warm, and loving and consistent, while the moon is more mercurial,
mhm,
shifting, reflective,
mhm,
responsive. uh, there's an interesting, maybe, idealization, or just a different archetype. And I think in that conversation, um, it broke my mom's brain in a really fun way. She was like, I'm gonna have to really sit with and incorporate that, because it just turns everything on its head in a really fascinating way.
Yeah, we love to do that. That's
Mhm.
important, yeah. Yeah, and I think the other thing, and really we talked about this a bit, but the loss of that connection has resulted in our, well, like you said earlier, our ability to destroy things and to extract things, but it's also just a deep, deep internal loss, because when you aren't feeling that connection to the land you're on, and really paying attention to it, really being a part of it, you've lost such a huge amount of what life can be. Um,
Mhm.
if you because I'm just reading a really beautiful little book by Llewellyn Von Lee, and another good author for all this kind of stuff. It, and it talks about the spiral of life, that it connects us to everything. And when we disconnect, even in our daily life, if we just forget because we're too busy doing stuff, we've lost something right away. We've lost something. Whereas if
Mm.
we can really be present every moment, even now, present right now with you and me in this computer, but being present in the moment, we gain so much, and we can also be, it can also be hearing the birds singing outside, and so really remembering that remembrance is what we've lost and what we can gain if we choose to
Mhm,
honor that part of ourselves and
mhm.
that goddess. So to talk, you had some thoughts about goddess energy. Did that that when we were talking earlier, I'd love to hear more about that. What you're thinking?
I've had lots of thoughts about goddess energy. Was there anyone in
Oh, no,
particular
no,
that you
just
were thinking about?
no, well, let's see. First, I love the Durga and the, the Kali, um,
Mhm,
because really it's doing
mhm.
what we're talking about, or shaking things up,
Right,
which is so
right.
important.
I so that brings one interesting piece up for me, or a couple, um, maybe more relevant and interesting to the conversation we're having about the relationship towards, of masculine and feminine and sort of that. And in inhabiting sort of the gender fluid but more masculine side,
Mhm.
or presentation
Yeah,
wise at
yeah.
least, um, is I often find myself engaging with men,
Mhm,
and in like men's groups and doing men's work and having conversations with men about masculinity, femininity, and things like that. And um, and I become really grateful
hmm.
for my unique role in bringing that. I mean, I was also like raised by, a single mother and my and you know uh, uh homesteading hardcore like woodsy lesbians like a big part of my upbringing, and so that'll break a lot of those frameworks.
Yeah.
um but I remember uh, a men's group that I was in a number of years ago, and the topic uh, of violence or aggression and anger
Mm,
came up, and talking about that as this like archetypal male force and this need to protect, and
mm.
and I was 30, so I was not as refined in my in my approaches and my speaking. People say that I'm more diplomatic now. But the what came up was the unraveling of what we think of as archetypally masculine and feminine and how we think about those things. And in that circle I said, okay, this impetus to like puff up and get big and stand in between
Mhm.
your family and danger, and the like urge to maybe violently defend that, like in nature, who is the archetype of that?
Right?
Is it a masculine figure or is it the mama
It's
bear?
the
Do we
mama
say it's
bear.
mama
It
bear?
is, absolutely.
So did you inherit that? Is that maybe from your divine feminine within that
Mm.
drives you to do that? And it's something that I do think in a lot of cultures is carried in a masculine, like, uh, areas.
Yeah, yeah.
Bear clans and bear cults and stuff are often a very masculine place, but it's still so feminine. And I love that as a way to to break
I
that
love that too.
conception apart.
That's so good. That's so important. Yeah, it is really fascinating when you start thinking about that. I mean, there's, bodily differences perhaps that you know, are biological,
Sure.
but other than that, there's no reason whatsoever um, to have this black and white. This is what this is, and this is what this is, that's part of our culture too. It's like in order to be safe, we make categories, and you're in this
Mhm.
category, and you're in this category. You're my friend. You're my enemy. Um, you're male. You're female. That's more comfortable for a
Right.
lot of people.
Right.
Um, but it's not real, as you
Right.
pointed out,
Right, right.
and it's
And
harmful.
in a lot of sort of decolonial gender theory spheres that I've encountered, um, the hard gender binary is a relatively modern
Mhm.
Western thing that was imposed upon a lot of different cultures
Yeah.
through the colonization
Yeah. Yeah.
process,
Very true.
and that a strong binary was seen as more civilized,
Mhm.
and that the equity and fluidity in a lot of traditional cultures was seen as savage and barbarous
Yeah.
and uncivilized and animalistic. And and yeah, so
Yay,
I don't
animalistic.
know. Hey,
We could learn
yeah,
a lot by being more
we could.
animalistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, looking at the the alpha wolf myth
Mhm.
and how that has just absolutely poisoned, especially masculine spaces.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the idea
Exactly.
of having to be an alpha and feminine too. It's that one's really endemic to our culture, I think.
It is.
Um,
Yeah.
and you know the the reality of, in a healthy ecosystem, in a healthy family and social system, wolves are egalitarian family units.
Yeah,
Small
as
communities.
usual, the mirror of nature is our best teacher.
Right,
If we can remember to look at, I mean, really everything, mycelia, the trees, they remind us over and over again that it's all one thing, and everything has to work together in order for it to work,
right.
and that we, by separating ourselves, we disrupt that flow,
Mhm,
and that we need to find our way back to that. Yeah, so wow, that I love that. I love that. And so, yeah, there's something else that came into my mind, but I don't remember what it is, so maybe we could just chat on.
mhm. Sure.
Um, yeah. So I was thinking about the way that um, the way this can be applied, I guess, for
Mhm,
folks, because this is, part of our goal here is to share our thoughts around how can we do these things better, right? Because,
mhm.
we do, at least I know you and I and many of our brothers and sisters in this gang, um,
Mhm.
in our community, direct
Yeah, our
community,
siblings.
yeah, yeah, really do aspire to find a way back, right?
Uh-huh.
And to be allies for each other and to support each other, and part of that, and I guess the part that what I think you said earlier that really struck me was that for men, oftentimes that means we're going to be the big tough guy and we're going to defend with violence if we need to.
Mhm, mhm.
Um, Whereas if you can find the balance, it's like if there's defense needing to happen, it's a collaborative, cooperative kind of thing. And in
Right.
real life, that would look more like just being there for people, being
Mhm,
present, if somebody's being threatened, um,
mhm,
and being willing to be brave enough. That's the courage part, which is not masculine. It's actually probably more feminine in many cases. But the courage, like Eve, to say, well, actually, I think this is going to be important. I'm going to take this wisdom,
mhm.
but to step in, to have the courage to step in and be allies, by showing up and by being taking having those hard conversations or taking that risk.
Right,
That's something that everybody can do, and I think that's part of what we lose when we think we just have to be the tough guy and go in and punch in.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the other piece of that I think about too is how often in the more, long lasting, especially of traditional cultures,
Hmm.
indigenous cultures, is that the you know even if your warrior societies are predominantly male
Hmm.
or masculine, you don't go to war until the old women say it's time.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and I think that's something that I really take into account at this moment in time,
Hmm.
with all of the fire that rises in me around the injustices in the world,
Yeah.
and that warrior energy that wants to come up and go burn some shit down or whatever. But that I look to the elder women in my world to be my moral guide,
Yeah. Oh, wow.
and to be the grounding steadiness of engage where we're at and what the need is.
Oh, God, that
Uh,
just brings goosebumps. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that's so
yeah,
fucking so right on, so important.
yeah, and I think that also is informed by what I was talking about with that lunar masculinity.
Mhm.
That and during our last Sufi conference, we talked a lot about solar and lunar energies,
Yeah.
and that the lunar is not a passive. It's not a passive energy. It's just it's a very responsive
Yeah. Res
thing, and so to step into that masculinity in a responsive way,
Mhm.
not reactive.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do
Open-hearted.
you how
Yeah.
open-hearted?
Yeah. Paying
What is the
attention.
need? A service
Mhm.
in a service way. We talked about, Mars energy in that way also,
Yeah.
as a service-oriented, standpoint,
Mhm. Mhm.
um, and so looking for the needs in your community,
Mm.
and where you can show up listening.
I was remembering, my sensei when I was doing karate, um, and a woman, actually, an amazing, wonderful woman. Her first lesson was don't fight.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm,
that the very first job you have is to not get into a fight.
right.
um, which is just, and again, counterintuitive perhaps if you're taking self-defense, but I guess if it is really self-defense, then that would be your first job.
Right,
Um, and I think somebody else said your first karate move should be
right,
bowing,
right,
um, and
right,
it
and
is.
the yeah, and the Celtic wisdom, you don't give a boy a sword until he knows how to dance.
Wow, perfect.
One of those 2.
Yeah, very beautiful, very beautiful. I
Mhm.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah, tempering those
yeah,
urges, those
yeah,
impulses.
yeah.
Um,
Every boy I've ever known loves to pick up a stick, so there is something about that.
mhm,
You
mhm.
know, it is. It probably is just that need to whack on things. I don't know. But yeah, but that's children, and so
Right,
here we are. We're growing up in this culture. So the culture's responsibility, and we as the male presenting culture part of the culture responsibility is for with those young people, those children,
yeah,
to show that this is our planet, this is our beloved. We're connected to everything here, and sure, you can pick up a stick and whack something if you want, but remember that stick has feelings. you know
right,
and
right.
whatever you're whacking is not probably enjoying that.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
and so yeah, that, and again, I love the idea. You got to dance before you can pick up a sword. That's such a great
Mhm,
idea, such a beautiful idea.
mhm.
So we've got some
Yeah,
work to do.
we sure do. Yeah, and, on the topic of a sword, because a sword is, in an archetypal way, such a masculine thing,
Mhm.
very phallic, um, you know, and is a tool almost exclusively for ending life.
Mm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and in a couple years ago, in hanging out with a very sort of chivalrous knightly friend of ours, our dear brother Clint, um, I decided that it was time for me to get a sword.
Mm.
I'd had some growing up, some show swords, but I was gonna get a sword. It's a good thing to have, if you're gonna be in this. And I've fenced and all of that in the past, but at that point in my life, and the nature of the blade that I got as a sharpened combat ready sort of thing,
Mm.
when I drew it, I understood in that moment what you're saying about your sensei don't get in that fight.
Yeah.
The power of a blade, or if you engage with firearms
Mm,
or something in
mhm.
a way that's not our sort of like fetishized toy, like we treat them like a hobby toy
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but the destructive potential of a weapon, if
Mhm.
you can really feel that when it's in your hand, is such a humbling thing. And to hold that like sharpened thing only there for the destruction of life and
Yeah,
go, holy shit, I hope I never ever 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 have to meet somebody with something like this.
yeah, 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 and
Like,
may it be so.
violence is a horrible
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
and I think that's part of the struggle that we're in this world right now.
It is.
There's so the those death throes, the patriarchal, the wanton violence
Mhm.
that is being enacted, and how many of us are like, this is terrible and we don't want to play that game.
Yeah,
And it's hard and it hurts and there's so much suffering around it. And the questions of like, when do you engage with that side of things, is part of that
yeah, and how.
thing. And how,
Yeah,
and listen to your aunties and your grandmothers. They have a lot of
yeah,
wisdom to say
yeah,
about those things.
and, most of my aunties are saying, "Sing,
Yeah.
sing, get together, create community, sing together, dance together,
Hmm.
pray together."
Hmm.
Um, but, yeah, that urge and maybe that's, I don't know, we're trying not to assign masculine and feminine to things, but that urge to get in and start whacking things,
Yeah.
is certainly there when I wake up and read the next set of insanities.
Right.
Um, but thankfully, I do have that wisdom around me and that, and my beloveds and my community that says, yeah, we'll pray and we'll sing and we'll dance together and we'll spread the light everywhere we are. And that ripple will hopefully,
Hmm.
um, bring
And
about
not
something new.
right, and not just spread the light, but also digest the shadow.
Yeah,
We're gonna digest that shadow
yeah,
as we go, but that's also part of, choosing the path of peace,
yeah,
which is a huge thing to do
yeah,
every day
yeah,
at this time in the world.
yeah.
And I don't wanna moralize about that because I don't, who knows?
Who knows exactly?
Not up to me. Not up to me, the path that those things take,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So,
yeah.
well, thank you. I really appreciated this conversation. It really struck me in many ways. I had several times where just like, oh yeah, wow.
Yeah,
So
likewise,
I hope all
likewise.
of you, our lovely audience, enjoyed it as well, and we appreciate any feedback. Get in touch, and
Yes.
subscribe, and and
All the stuff.
tell all your
Just
friends and all
yeah,
that kind of good stuff. We appreciate
keep
you.
keep hanging out with us.
Yeah, we'll see you next
Yeah.
time.
Adios.
Adios.
Grief and loss, conversations about the end of life.